Coming up, armed robbers steal jewellery worth £30,000 in just 48 seconds. Details next.
Now on ITV, the national and international news is coming up in 30 minutes after the news from your area.
Hello and welcome to ITV News Central. On the programme tonight, lightning raid. Armed robbers take jewellery worth £30,000 in a heist lasting just 48 seconds.
A happy teenager before he is mown down by a speeding car. 20 years on, he tells us of the devastating consequences.
Crowds turn out in Worcestershire for the world's cycling elite in the Tour of Britain.
And lighting up the Midlands, your pictures of the supermoon finale.
Good evening. A jeweller has told ITV News he thought he would be killed when raiders smashed their way into his store with sledgehammers. John Davis said he was petrified. Today, Mr. Davis paid tribute to a customer who snatched a bag of precious jewellery from the men as they fled. He said his brave actions have saved his business. Rajiv Popat reports.
This was the start of a terrifying ordeal for a jeweller and his 4 customers. An audacious raid where masked men with sledgehammers broke into John Davis's store.
I thought I wasn't going to see tomorrow, the next day, because the way they came through that door, I thought it might be. I'd seen a picture of my grandchild on my phone, and that upset me because I thought I might not see that again. And I just think it's wrong that those people can get away with that.
Graham Tisdale, standing behind the armchair in the corner of the store, couldn't believe what was happening, but he wasn't prepared to stand by and do nothing.
I made an unconscious decision to dive at the last person going out the door and snatch the bag out of his hand, which I'm just glad it's helped John keep in business.
Were you not frightened for your own safety?
I didn't give it a thought. It didn't even enter my mind at the time.
The bag contained jewellery worth more than £40,000.
Graham intervening, grabbing that bag back, had he not done that, I would probably have had to shut my shop down, because I would have probably tried to carry on, but I don't, with the current climate as it is, it's very quiet up the jewellery quarter as it is for everybody, and these people just think they can just come and take what they want, and it's not on. He saved my shop basically, and I'm so grateful to him.
For 48 seconds, the gang smashed the display cabinets before they fled. Christella Envis told me it's something she'll never forget.
I just thought they were going to kill us. I'd never experienced anything like this in my life, and it was the first time I'd been that close to death.
Mr. Davis is worried the raiders will return. He stepped up security in his store, but he believes that here in the jewellery quarter more needs to be done to protect the traders.
I'd like to see more cameras around the jewellery quarter. It's all about protecting the shops and seeing who's driving around in circles, seeing what they're going to do next. We're not just robbed, we're threatened. It could be a life-threatening situation we're put in.
Police are appealing for anyone who saw any suspicious activity in the area on August the 26th to contact them. Rajiv Popat, ITV News, Birmingham.
A second teenage boy has been arrested over the murder of a woman in Smethwick last week. Glynis Bensley, who was 47, was found on Cheshire Road just before midnight last Wednesday. She died as a result of a head injury. A 14-year-old boy was arrested at the scene and later bailed. Police are now questioning a 13-year-old boy over the death.
An American nurse has been convicted for a second time for encouraging a man from Coventry to commit suicide over the internet. Mike Dryborough hanged himself in 2005 after chatting to William Melchert Dinkle, who pretended to be a female nurse. His previous conviction from 2011 was overturned earlier this year.
A man from Walsall says he hasn't got any sort of life after being mowed down by a speeding driver which left him severely disabled. Stuart Fisher, he's now 36, has been speaking to help raise awareness about safety on our roads.
It comes as West Midlands Fire Service and West Midlands Police made a new video to warn drivers about the devastating consequences crashes can have on families. James Clark reports.
All too often we see pictures like these, footage filmed from a police helicopter chasing a speeding car. But what we don't often see are the devastating consequences. Stuart Fisher was 17 when he was mowed down on the promenade in Blackpool back in 1995. Stuart, who is now 36, suffered life-changing injuries. He's had to relearn how to breathe, speak and eat.
I haven't got any sort of life anymore because when I was young I would have moved out of my own, but obviously I'm still living with my mum and dad.
As you say, he's lost his independence where he'd love to play football and things like that. But he was in a coma as well for months, from August to the following April. And then he was in hospital 2 years altogether.
The driver was eventually caught by police after 13 miles when he ran out of petrol. He was jailed for 4 years.
All of my independence has gone. You try your very best to obviously educate people, not to do the idiotic, stupid things.
The driver has been trapped for more than an hour after a car overturned on Spaghetti Junction.
A man's been cut free from his...
West Midlands Fire Service and West Midlands Police have released a new video aimed at warning motorists about the devastating consequences car crashes can have on the families involved. Statistics from the Department for Transport showed that last year more than 150 people were killed on our roads across the West Midlands and more than 1,600 were seriously injured. Figures the fire service and police say are far too high.
We have more road traffic collisions these days than fires. We are very, very hot on seatbelt safety, inappropriate parking, speeding. We're doing everything we can to try and drive it down.
Avril Child's daughter Sarah was killed when a car hit her and one of her sisters on the Walsall Road in July 2012. The driver was speeding at more than 60 miles per hour.
If you're going somewhere, do the speed limit. Why break the speed limit? You know, nobody has got a chance against a ton of metal. I didn't want to believe it, but I couldn't believe it. One of my daughters had died for no reason whatsoever.
My message is don't ever mess around on the road, because the car, it is an extremely dangerous machine.
The fire service and police hope their video will educate motorists about the dangers faced on our roads every day in a bid to reduce horrific scenes like these. James Clark, ITV News, Birmingham.
The devastating consequences of speeding drivers, and if you do want to see the full video again, then you can find the links on our website. Just go to itv.com/central.
A 13-year-old boy has appeared at youth court charged in connection with a high school knife attack in Worcestershire. He's accused of hurting a 13-year-old girl and a teacher at the Chase Technology College in Morven on Monday. In total, he faces 13 charges, including carrying 5 knives at Ledbury railway station. The case was adjourned until September the 13th, and the boy was remanded to a residential children's unit.
Now, last night we brought you the story of a group of pensioners from the Black Country who are campaigning for a commitment to keep bus travel for the elderly free. It's amid rumours that politicians may be planning to put the brakes on it.
Today, they took their message to the engine room of government as they delivered a petition to Downing Street. More than 150,000 people in the West Midlands have signed it, which indicates millions more across the country will be watching manifestos closely for this issue come the general election. Galen Watkinson reports.
If they could have driven a bus up Downing Street, they would have done. These pensioners have travelled from the Black Country to deliver a petition signed by thousands, a demand that bus travel remains free for the OAP, regardless of who's behind this door by next summer. As they waited to set off by coach from Walsall, they explained that the absence of a threat to cut the benefit is not enough. They want a promise from all parties that it will be kept.
At the moment, no political party has said what they're going to do after the next general election if they have power, but certainly there have been mumblings ever since 2011 from senior coalition politicians, and we mustn't take the Labour Party for granted either. So the idea is persuade all major parties to do the right thing and say we are going to keep this as it is.
We pay as they go. Each trip is logged and the Treasury only billed for the journeys made. The total cost, just over £1 billion a year, but money well spent, according to those who use the service.
The economy is helped by us using our bus passes. We use them in the buses and in the shops. I do voluntary work at the hospital. I wouldn't be able to go if I'd got to pay bus fare.
I haven't got a car, and if I didn't go out and about on the bus, we wouldn't go anywhere, would we?
Millions of pensioners don't even use the bus pass. It only costs if you get on the bus. And if you do use the bus, for every pound that costs, they spend £2 in shopping. And the other thing is, if people are trapped in their homes, it's going to cost the NHS or the people who buy it a fortune to treat people for the effects of loneliness and illness.
Ed Miliband was asked a question about the bus pass in my constituency a few weeks ago, and he made it clear that as far as Labour is concerned, the bus pass will be retained, and rightly so.
The leaders of both other main parties have dropped heavy hints that they don't intend to take the free bus passes away. Today they've been put on notice that a section of society with significant electoral clout won't be pleased if they don't turn those hints into manifesto pledges. Callum Watkinson, ITV News.